How the law breaks down. First, child stealing penalties have been stiffened. Attempted child napping has now become a crime in our state. The new law means there will be no 24-hour waiting period before police can start searching for a missing child. Special safety programs, including fingerprinting, will be required now in all Ohio schools, and the police will begin special training for handling abuse and missing child cases. And Senator Fisher hopes the problem will now become a police priority.
Believe it or not, before this bill went into effect today, there were some police jurisdictions who were looking for automobiles more quickly than they were for stolen children.
The Euclid schools have wasted no time in joining the fight to help lower the number of missing children. And as News Center 8's Wayne Dawson reports, their strong track record in promoting child safety is why they were chosen to help kick off the new law with a special safety day.
I'm a stranger, pretend, okay? And I come down. And I grab you. Now what are you going to do?
McGruff the safety dog paid a special visit to Lincoln Elementary today, part of the school's Safety Day program. His message, be wary of strangers, a warning reinforced by his sidekick, Officer Joey.
Strangers aren't your friends. Don't take anything from strangers. Don't talk to strangers.
The students were also treated to a safety skit. The scene, two youngsters are approached by a stranger in a car.
Hey, you, in the purple book bag, don't you want the latest rock album? Patrol, you get the license number. I'll remember the car and the guy's face. Quick, I see a helping hand over there. Let's run.
Today's activities were designed to teach students how to avoid danger, a lesson they learned very well.
What would you do now if a stranger comes up to you and offers you candy or wants you to get into his car?
I would say no and run away.
After the program, each student was fingerprinted, one final effort to ensure their safety so none of these youngsters become missing children. Wayne Dawson, News Center 8, Euclid.
With 1.5 million children reported missing each year in this country, we should all take part in helping to locate them. Tonight, News Center 8 begins a special weekly series with photos of missing children in hopes that someone might recognize them or have information on where they are. Marjorie Aragan vanished while visiting the New Mexico State Fair with her family on September 29, 1984. 16-year-old Marjorie has dark brown hair, brown eyes, and two capped front teeth. She has pierced ears and wears glasses. Antone and Robert Taveras have been missing from Attleboro, Massachusetts since June of 1983. Antone is now 7.5 years old. He has dark brown hair and dark brown eyes. Younger brother Robert has dark blonde hair and dark brown eyes. Robert is 5.5 years old. Help the Missing Children Network and News Center 8 bring Robert, Antone, and Marjorie home. Call 1-800-235-3535 with sighting information on these children, or if you need help locating your own missing child. The Missing Child Network does work. For proof, we need look no farther than Chardon. There, News Center 8's Mike Cragen met Jill McElwain and her daughter, Jeanette.
Denise, for more than 2 years, Jeanette was a missing child. The story begins with her mom and dad's divorce.
I was awarded custody, and the night of the divorce, he asked if he could have one more night with her.
Jill's ex-husband took their daughter Jeanette, then three, and fled into that night.
First we was in Arizona, then we moved to Tennessee, Arizona. And we stayed in there, and I came back here.
Jill McElwain was to spend the next 2.5 years butting bureaucratic stone walls.
I don't know if nobody cared, but they just couldn't do anything.
Finally, someone saw a missing child report on TV, recognized Jeanette, and called the Missing Child Network's hotline. In January, mother and daughter, now 5.5, were reunited.
I'm still mad because I missed, the few years of her growing up.
And Jeanette, but for one thing, is glad to be home.
Except the weather. In Tennessee, it's kind of warm. And in Arizona, it is, it's warm.
Mike Cragen, News Center 8, Chardon.
And with TV8's brand new Missing Children Network, we're hoping there can be more happy reunions. Rick?
And Denise, you'll have more on missing children a little bit later on, right?
That's right. A little later, we'll take a look at just who is stealing most of these children, and the answer may advertising efforts really are.
If there's anybody out there has any idea where she's at, just bring my baby home. The pleas of Frank Papish and the parents of other missing children are finally being heard, and the response is coming from all over. Pictures and vital statistics of missing children now appear on everything from grocery bags to orange juice cartons and Coke bottles. Next month, East Ohio Gas Company will use its utility bills to send 2 pictures a month into almost 1 million homes in Northeast Ohio. The faces of missing children are staring from neon lights on Times Square and from rock videos in Los Angeles. Next month here in Cleveland, we'll have
1.5 million kids just like these disappear every year in this country. Schools like this one are trying to do something about it. Here's what our new state law is going to do to help. Number 1, it'll set up tougher penalties for the people who snatch children, including parents who don't have custody. 2, it'll set up voluntary fingerprinting programs in every public school system in the state. 3, it forces police across Ohio to start investigating these cases better and faster. No more waiting 24 hours to start searching for a missing child. And 4, it creates a statewide clearinghouse for information about missing children so that police departments all over Ohio can communicate with each other when a child disappears. Something else has happened because of the new law and all the news coverage. People all over the area are suddenly more aware of the potential dangers out there, and they're starting to do something about it, like this group in Euclid.
Patrol, you get the license number. I'll remember the car and the guy's face. Quick, I see a helping hand over there. Let's run.
These are 5th graders at Lincoln Elementary School in Euclid. They made up their own skit to show their classmates how to keep away from strangers. This kind of thing is becoming a big part of a grade school education nowadays. So's this.
Do you think you could help me look for her? I don't know this neighborhood. Maybe you can walk around the block with me.
A safety film with real kids acting out potentially dangerous situations. The kids here see different films about safety about once a month. Today, they also heard from a state senator.
Somebody in this row right here is going to be mayor of Euclid.
And even Mr. McGruff, the official crime dog, made an appearance here today. They've been having safety days for years here at Lincoln. What's new today is that this school is helping to draw attention to Ohio's new missing children's law. Because of it, more school children all over the state will get this kind of training, and a lot more often.
Safety is something that has to be repeated over and over and over so that children can have the right response if something unexpected happens.
This is part of the new law, too. Good, up-to-date identification records. So if a child does disappear, police can do a better job of searching. At Lincoln today, they brought in a dentist to help make the ID cards even more complete. These records will be sent home for the child's parents to keep. And instead of being frightened by all of this attention to safety, these children seem to be getting the right message. Do you think you ought to have more of this kind of thing in school?
Yeah.
Yeah? Have you ever had any problems out there, like a stranger driving up in a car or anything like that?
No.
Would you know what to do?
Yeah.
What?
Just run away and go to Helping Hand.
And that's exactly the right answer from Michelle, the safe answer. You know, the kids behind me that you see are part of a day-long safety day in the Euclid schools. Their parents are going to get involved, too, with a big special meeting at 7:30 tonight. They're all going to be finding out more about the new missing children's law in Ohio. And that new law is the subject of tonight's page 2. Stay with us, because we're going to take a look at some potential problems in putting that law into practice all across the state.
You know, one of the most interesting things, and I think one of the most heartwarming, too, is all the momentum that all of this is generating now. We've got so many people getting into the act to try to do something, Doreen, about the missing children problem. Eastern Airlines, too, is that right?
Eastern Airlines is very much involved, and I'll tell you how. Eastern Airlines wants to help find missing children, and in a very big way. Today, Eastern Airlines announced a plan that will raise a lot of money for the Adam Walsh Center right here in Cleveland. During the month of May, Eastern will donate $1 from every ticket sold for a flight out of Cleveland to the Walsh Center. Eastern averages about 16,000 passengers out of Hopkins a month. So this is a donation that will really add up, and the money will stay here in Ohio, helping helping to set up local programs. And helping missing kids is nothing new to the people at Eastern. Several years back, when 5-year-old Adam Walsh first disappeared from a department store in Florida, Eastern Airlines posted Adam Walsh's picture in airports all over the country. Dave?
Now, what I'd like to do is tell you where some of that money, in fact, where the money itself is going. The Adam Walsh Center here in Northeast Ohio is really the only center for missing kids in the entire state. As a matter of fact, the center here is the only Walsh Center outside the state of Florida. It is a new group, to be sure, operating right now out of a small donated office at University Circle. The Walsh Center will serve as a resource for parents and schools. The group is already giving safety programs all over the area. If you would like to volunteer, or even better, make a contribution, or maybe just get some more information for your own family, here is the number to call, 791-ADAM. 791-ADAM. We can all be proud now, really, that Cleveland is one of the first places in the whole country to form a center just like this one. Doreen.
You're right, guys. There is something special going on. We're back live at Lincoln Elementary School here in Euclid. The kids that you see behind me are in Mrs. Bear's 3rd grade class, and like all the other kids in the Euclid school system, they've spent almost all day today learning about safety. Let's listen in on some of the stuff that they've been hearing today.
Pretend you are walking down the street and a stranger standing next to his car looks at you and says,
"Hi, you want to go for a ride in my car?"
Okay, let's ask a couple of questions now. That's just a sample of a videotape or a slide presentation called Safety with Strangers. This is, I believe, Danny, right?
Yes.
Danny, if the guy on the slide there came up and asked you to get in his car with him, what would you say?
No.
Okay, what do you think about all the safety classes you've been having at school today?
It was excellent.
All right, let me check with one of your classmates here. This is Angela, I believe?
Yes.
Angela, what would you do?
I would run, too, because he could grab you or something.
What if he tried to grab you?
I would try to kick and scream.
All right, and yell real loud, probably.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask the whole class. I know one of the things that you all have been learning, there are 3 rules, right? How many of you can say those 3 rules? Okay, let's hear them all together. Go ahead.
Say no, get away, and tell someone.
Okay, you guys are great. You've memorized that, I can tell. Thanks. You know, training like this is just one thing that that Ohio's new missing children's law will do. It will help create awareness in schools all over this state and set up more safety programs for kids all over Ohio. Let me tell you something else that it's going to do. Take a look at this. Fingerprinting. This is voluntary fingerprinting. All of these kids' parents have given permission to have the children fingerprinted. It can really help police if a child does disappear. And these fingerprint records, these ID cards that you see being made right here, well, those are all going to go home to parents for safekeeping. You can, and all over the state in public schools, this is going to be accessible to every child under this new law. Now, another place that provides this kind of fingerprinting service is the police department. You can probably, if your child isn't in public school, you can probably go to a police department and have this same service done. This new law also forces a lot of police departments to hook into a new statewide clearinghouse for missing children. We sent Channel 3's Marion Lowe's to one Ohio community to see how a police department is adapting to this new law.
Bainbridge, Ohio, a postcard pretty community of 10,000. It's hard to imagine children being abducted from a small community like this.
But the 18 policemen that patrol this town know better. Children turn up missing in the smallest of towns. The Bainbridge Police Department didn't need a state law to tell them to look for missing children immediately. They've been doing it for years.
Our procedure has been to start the investigation immediately and continue with that investigation.
For the past 10 years, Chief Jimison has been on the force. He says Bainbridge has actively pursued missing kids. That includes alerting surrounding police departments and entering the information into the National Crime Information Computer within 12 hours, a practice some police departments are just starting. They're way ahead of the times with preventive measures, too. They've been fingerprinting children in area schools for 3 years now. This weekend, they'll start a videotaping program. Bainbridge doesn't have a serious problem with missing children. Around 25 are reported missing a year, but the majority of those are runaways. Still, Bainbridge police say they react quick on every call because you never know.
As long as they are not at home or in familiar environment, that they are potentially, potentially could be a victim.
For the people that live in this town, if their children are ever abducted, it's nice to know the one thing they won't have to worry about is a police department that puts missing children low on the priority list. Marion Lowe's, Channel 3 News, Bainbridge.
Thank you, Marion. Well, with us right now is State Senator Lee Fisher. He's from Shaker Heights, and he is the sponsor of the Missing Children's Bill and the guy who got this all the way through the legislature in, I would say, probably record time. We've just seen a report about how the Bainbridge Police Department is doing some real good things to put this law into action. But it's perhaps a flaw in the bill that there doesn't seem to be a system for getting police departments all over the state to start enforcing some of these measures. What's the state doing to see that some of that happens?
Well, Doreen, we've already started a program with the Ohio Peace Officer Training Academy to make sure that every law enforcement agency gets a packet and a training manual on how this law works. So, in fact, I say to you that really I don't think there is a flaw, because we anticipated that this might be a problem, and already outside of the law, privately, we're working to make sure that every law enforcement officer is trained in handling not only missing children cases, but also child abuse cases as well.
You've got some other legislation relating to children that you're working on right now down in Columbus.
Well, you know, all these issues are very much related, and one of the issues that I'm very concerned about as well is child abuse. And we have to make it easier for children to testify in a child abuse case. It's very intimidating for them to sit as close as you and I are in a courtroom and have to face the accused. So we're going to make some evidentiary changes in our laws to make it easier for a child to testify. For example, videotaping that child's testimony in the courtroom.
Okay, it's a very good idea. Well, we've got kind of a word of warning tonight about missing children. There are a lot of businesses out there that are sort of trying to make a profit on some of the fears that parents have. There are some video stores that are selling pretty expensive tapes and services right now. Also, there are some video businesses who will tape your kids for free and then send the tape on to the local police department. So call around in your community, check it out. This book is being sold at a lot of bookstores, but, you know, your child's school system can probably provide this same identification service for free. And some local dentists are even offering to bond your child's identification onto a tooth. It can be expensive, $40 or more, and it may not be necessary. Even some fundraisers are getting involved. These items are being used as money makers for different organizations. The Moral Majority is also sending out some fundraising things relating to missing children. If you send them a nice donation, then they will send you back this card. These devices may make you feel more secure, but chances are your local police department or your school system can probably do the very same thing for free. And Senator Fisher, I know you've run across some of these products in your work with missing children.
I certainly have. In fact, Channel 3 helped find something that was really wrong, I think you in particular, Doreen, earlier this year, and as a result we included a provision in the bill which makes it illegal for some of these companies to do it for profit, particularly if they imply somehow that they're affiliated with an existing organization like Child Fund or the Adam Walsh Child Resource Center. So we have penalties built in for these people who try to make a buck on trying to recover missing children. It should be something that's done in our schools and our communities and our police departments voluntarily.
Okay, well, I'd like to say, I think we would all like to say thank you to you, Senator Fisher, for working so hard on all of this. There are a lot of different groups raising funds and doing different things. Even another TV station, I understand, is getting ready to do some missing children reports like we've been doing for a year and a half. This is a guy who has been involved from the very beginning. So thank you, Senator.
Well, let me return to things. Channel 3 has been terrific, and I know I shouldn't be patting each other on the back, but in this case it's true. Channel 3 has been great.
Thank you. Okay, back to you guys, Dale and Leon.
A couple of pats on the back aren't bad. A lot of hard work in this.
Indeed. And sadly, it's a situation that we've got to deal with, and gladly, a situation we are dealing with.